If this bullet journal plan with me had a mantra, it would be do as I say and not what I do. You'll see what I mean. We're going to get right into it. This idea came to me in December 2020, so it has been incubating in my brain for a while. I wanted to do some dimensional paperwork, sort of a winter scene. I didn't have something super specific in mind at the time, so I had a lot of time to think about it. What I'm doing now is gluing in my background paper. I'm using a mirror paper because I wanted to create this idea of the trees casting shadows in the background. You'll see I'm cutting out my Dutch door also. I'm going to talk more specifically about what I'm doing with my weeklies. It may look the same, but I'm going to explore a little bit more deeply the Allistair method, and we'll get into that in a moment. So I glued everything because I knew I was going to be doing some extensive paperwork, and while I was working on that paperwork, I could start the gluing process. So now you're going to see the very first mistake. And going back to that mantra, what I say and not what I do. When you're doing this type of work, it's best to set a clear frame that everything is being cut out of and keeping that frame around it intact so that your paperwork doesn't fall apart and you also have something to glue. I decided to do a winter scene with 2 polar bears and some trees in the background. It's a 3-layered scene. I had thought about doing this in the pop-up style that I had did earlier in the year for my Don't Touch My Hair theme, but ultimately decided it wasn't necessary to get the desired effect. So I would recommend you create 3 even layers. Lay out, measure out what your frame is going to be, and then go in and pre-draw like I did. You can't really see it very well here because it's lightly drawn, and then go in and do your cutting out, keeping the frame intact. By keeping the frame intact, you have some place to glue, and you also just make this type of work a little bit more sturdy. And saying the word sturdy, I don't mean it is actually sturdy, it just gives it a little bit more of a base. So you can see things coming together. I cut out a frame within my bullet journal, and I'm using double-sided dimensionals in this particular cover for the month. The dimensionals help to create just a little bit of space in between the pieces, giving it a look of depth. It's important to point out that this depth can be seen from the side when you are flipping the pages. You may or may not like that. I didn't mind it, so I just went ahead with this. But it really isn't necessary. You could glue all the pieces down and still have the same look. I just really wanted a bit more depth. We're now starting my calendar page. My hand lettering is not the best. If you have been here, you know this, but I'm still working on it. So I did some hand lettering. I'm using a combination of different metallic pens. I will leave them in the description box. I decided I needed a much bigger calendar for December because I had a lot going on. I pre-drew these, and now I'm just using a metallic Uniball pen to mark out the boxes clearly, and I'm going to go in and add some holly with some berries here. Inside the berries, I'm going to put my dates. It's a little bit of a decorative element. The spread is going to be fairly simple, or at least simple for me. If you've been here, you know that more is more for me usually, typically, but I am going to keep the spread as clean as possible because I have quite a bit going on for December. The month of December is an extremely busy month for content creators and bullet journalers because we are ending the year, but also getting ready for 2022. So you can look forward to my 2021 flip through and also my 2022 setup. All right, now we are going over here. Now I made the mistake of not putting some paper down in between these pages, so I had some glue that got on there and ripped the pages a bit. I was pretty upset about this, but then I was just like, move forward. I started using the Faber Castel metallic highlighters to do the headers for the page, but ultimately did not like it and decided to use some washi tape to cover that up. It was a little bit streaky and I really wanted something that was more opaque in terms of how it looked. Right now I am working on the decorative border. I love doing these decorative borders for the Dutch door pages. It allows me to have one really great decorative element that I can see all month long. It's a great time saver, and it also just really has a great look if you ask me. So I'm doing paperwork, of course, and then I'm going to go in and add it to the top. Now, I'm using dimensionals. If I had to go back and do this again, I would not use dimensionals for these headers. It just isn't necessary because there is no layering. So I'm not really creating much depth. It doesn't have much of a visual effect. So I love to use different washi tapes, and this washi tape is going to become very central to my setup. You will see in a little bit how I incorporate it into mini pages within the journal, the decorative elements from the washi tape. This is my audition tracker that I was doing. I added some washi tape. It's really straightforward. It just tracks what I'm submitting for, what they're asking for, whether I did it or not, what's the due date, you know, all the basic things. I was working with the washi and decided to go ahead and complete the washi tape setup for the rest of my pages. I'm using a very sharp Exacto knife to trim the edges so that I can have these really beautiful sparkly silver borders. All right, so let's talk about my weeklies. So I decided to lean more into this idea of the Allistair method. If you've been watching a few videos, you know that this is a very popular technique for planning, and the way it works is that you keep a list of your tasks for the week, and in the first section of what I just drew, you'll have letters to represent the dates: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then a little Pac-Man, as I call it, saying that we're going to move that forward. And you choose the date, you choose a dot, you put that dot on that date. If you finish it, then you put an X. If you don't, you leave it blank and you move forward, or you put the merge symbol. I decided to explore this because I had been using the rolling weekly, which is based on the Allistair method, and I thought I've never actually used the Allistair method, and that this would be a good time to do it. It uses fewer pages in my bullet journal, and I think it might keep me better organized. So we're going to see how it goes. On the opposite page, I have my weekly setup all on one page, and what's going to go there are my appointments. So anything I have that's an appointment for the day, like a doctor's appointment, or anything that is something that's sort of set ahead, whereas on the other side it'll be like, do this particular project or research this particular thing, all the things that I need to do during the course of the week. And I can still sort of plan when I do them, and if I don't do them, it's okay. I can just migrate them to the next day or the following week. So you'll see I set up every page this way. I started to stamp in the dates. This is another one of those things I regretted. I really wanted these pages to be clean. I thought the stamping would be a good idea, but in the end, I just felt it was way too busy. I think that these pages would have looked much better with a smaller text for the days of the week and cleaner numbers. This kind of got a little bit messy, and I thought it really did a disservice to all the work I had done up to this point. But you just keep moving forward. Once you do it, there's not much else you can do but to either do it over, take some notepad paper from my Archer notebook and redo them, but I decided to just power forward. It wasn't, I decided to give myself some grace. All right, so I am using the branches from the washi tape, the berry branches. This is going to be my mood tracker for the month. I am going to use stickers. I have circle stickers, metallic circle stickers in 3 different colors, and they will go on these branches. There is one branch for every day of the month, and in the middle is going to be a quote. I thought it fit the season, but also was great for this idea of mood, if you will. So I am going in, and you'll see here, you're like, what is she doing? I went in with brown because branches are typically brown, but then I realized on the washi tape the branches were actually black, so I went over it in black, and then I added a little gold, and then I was like, I want to add a little snow, but I didn't have my Archer and Olive white pen, so I was trying to use a gel pen that didn't really work. It was merging into the dual brush pen, and ultimately I was like, I will worry about this later. And my final spread is my line a day. I love setting this up. It's a great place to check in at the end of the day. I kind of feel like it's the soul of my monthly spreads. I'm doing a lot of trackers and things, but I really love my line a day. So I went back and added some sparkles and branches to my weekly pages, and you'll see those in a little bit more detail. But it's time for the final flip. This idea came to me in December 2020, and I am very pleased with how it came together. I feel like there's a serenity in it, this polar bear and the polar bear cub having a moment in the winter woods. I wanted to keep this as simple as possible. I don't do much simplicity. You can still see my style in it, in that detailed paperwork, but I feel like everything has a little bit of breathing room, if you will. Despite the mistakes, I'm looking forward to using this journal setup and also just exploring the Allistair method fully to see if it's a good method of organization for me. I'm curious, and I think that this mood tracker is going to look really great once it's complete. You can see the metallic stickers that I'm going to use to put on the branches. You guys, this is 1 full year of bullet journal videos. It was something I committed to at the end of 2020 on a whim, and here we are. Thank you for taking this journey with me. If you've liked the content I've created, please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the 2021 flip.